Yeah.
Okay.
You are on.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. If I can just get a basic indication from one or two comments, please, that you guys can hear me and see me okay.
Here we go.
All right. It seems that we are in business. So, firstly, thank you so much for everybody for logging on now. There's a lot of people that have been queuing for quite a while, which we always really appreciate. We have not done this for a while, and this is not really the tech side of things is not really our strong point. So, excuse any technical difficulties along the way that might come up. I hope you bear with us. And yeah, so my name is Namibia Dreyer. I'm the co-founder of Ocean Conservation Namibia. OCN was founded in 2020 with the main intention of basically rescuing seals at that point. We were using seals as a tool to highlight the impact of ocean pollution, or the impact on marine life of ocean pollution. Since then, we have been through many seal rescues. We've encountered quite a few other animals in our activities, and we also we've now started branching out to education, research, and numerous things. The organization has come so far, and since it's been probably about 2.5 years since we've done a live stream, we just wanted to give you guys the chance to hear what we've been up to and to answer some of your questions along the way. So basically what's going to happen today, as you'll know, or a lot of you might know, we've just hit our huge milestone of 1,000 seals this week. This just passed, our 1,000 rescues for the year. In a few minutes, I'm going to play the video from that rescue. It has not been released anywhere yet. It's just a quick video. And from there, we will basically. So, okay, so I'm gonna play the video. We are going to be everybody is here as well. I'm going to ask Ari and Damien and Jason to step up and just tell us a little bit about what they've been up to. Katja is here as well. If they have any questions specifically on the inner workings, the donation side, the organizational side of the organization, and we will be taking more questions after that. So I think just while we're getting settled, Jason's going to put on video.
Pelican Point, Jason, Ewan, and I, and we spotted an entangled pup there. If we catch it, he would be rescue number 1,000 for the year 2025. So we are going to try to make this happen. Oh, puppy! Oi, oi, oi. Oh, puppy. That looks bad, eh? Very. Ja. Sorry, capture. Nope, must be something. Deze. That's it. You want the hook on there? Yeah. Maybe. There is a tag somewhere. Oh, here. Yeah. Where? Here. Oh. But he's going under. Can you pull it? Okay, yeah. You'll find that. That's all I need. Oh. Yeah, it is going under here. Try, yeah, try. It's gonna bleed. Oh, puppy. Look at this. Fishing line, huh? Oh, yours. Okay, puppy. You're done now. Yep. Rescue number 1,000 for the year. Congrats. And you make it, huh? You survive. You go. here we go.
Yo, so that was a really cool video. I'm actually just watching it now for the first time myself. The rescue happened 3 days ago. Damien and I were in Cape Town for an effective oil and wildlife conference. Haywen, Tony, and Jason went out, and they managed to get number 1,000, which is just it's amazing. And as I've been watching this video, you hear us often talking about recaptures during our rescues, and you can see the this one looked like to me like it could have been a recapture. It was a hard one to spot in the first place. I'm sure they really wanted to get that one. Haywen especially is known to have a very competitive streak in him, and he wanted to hit the 1,000 with a vengeance. So well done, guys. This is absolutely huge milestone for us. But again, 1,000 rescues. Monday will be 1,001, and so on and so on. It's just a number. It's just a nice round number, but the number we always thought would never be possible. Like, how are we going to do 1,000 rescues in 1 year? But fortunately, it just highlights the situation. We always get the question, why are we getting more rescues? Are we getting better? No, I don't actually think so. We've been doing the same thing for a few years. I think it's more a matter of the situation is not getting better. The situation is really dire. It's bad. There's too much plastic in the ocean. What we want is to essentially be unemployed in this sector of work. We want there to be no need for us to be out there. So no, that people need to change their relationship with plastic. Unfortunately, there's way too much, and their relationship with a lot of fish we consume. A lot of this is directly linked to the fish industry, and most fishing industries, unfortunately, not that sustainable, no matter how much they promise to be. So it's just basically should give a little bit of a recap of the year so far. 1,000 rescues. This is already it is 129 more than the best year we've ever had, and we still have a few rescue days coming up. I mean, we're probably looking at a 15% increase in rescues this year. Again, our biggest factor, the biggest number of seals getting entangled have been pups, with nearly 80% of the seals being pups. And as usual, the big three culprits of entanglements are recreational fishing lines, the thin little, almost invisible lines, packaging straps, and commercial fishing lines. So it's all horrible stuff, and even though the straps we class as commercial rubbish or industrial, most of these are actually coming from the fishing industry, from packaging of fish boxes, essentially. So yeah, definitely a large link. Another huge thing we've seen this year is an increase in nets. A lot of gill nets this year. Usually we're getting less than 50 nets around seals a year. This year we've had 17. It's bad, especially the gill nets, because we do not have a legal gill net fishery in Namibia. So this actually opens up a whole nother ton of questions. Is there a whole massive illegal fishery that we're not even aware about, that the government isn't even aware about? So yeah. But otherwise, in terms of just what we've been up to this year, we've actually done a couple of expedition trips. We've been up to the Skeleton Coast 3 times this year. We've done 2 trips to Sandwich Harbour, multiple trips to Cape Cross. Cape Cross is closed at the moment, unfortunately, because they have started the harvest quite recently. So we cannot go there. And then the dock rescues, and we've actually, for the first time ever, we got a new rescue site in the Skeleton Coast Park, where they haven't. It's a new haul out of seals. We haven't really seen many before, but we managed to do a rescue at a new site. Always quite exciting. Other than that, in the year we went up to Cape Town to do some training at Sandcob. We've got a huge issue with penguins in Namibia, or the lack of penguins, the loss of penguins. So they've become uplisted to critically endangered by the IUCN Red List, and a lot of extra protection orders. So we've built our own little penguin rehab center here at our HQ. And unfortunately, there are so few penguins around that we've only had to intake this year. so we haven't had much practice at that. But we've got the training, we've got the equipment, we are fully ready and set up for the penguin situation. Another thing, we've massively branched out on education programs. Ari and Damien have been visiting a lot of schools, doing a lot of outreach on all levels, not just kids, but adults as well. We've got some really cool sessions on the beaches with the kids, actually getting them right into the nature to see, you get a better opportunity to see what there is to protect out here firsthand. Haywen's been very active with his kids club. He's been doing beach cleanups with them on the weekends, and this new thing now with them is taking them some very cool community runs. He's done 2 races with the kids now, which they absolutely love, and these kids are just going from strength to strength. These are the kids that are going to be the future of conservation in our country one day, so we do what we can to look after them. Yeah, so when we basically started OCN because we saw there was a massive void in this country in terms of marine-focused conservation. Namibia is very praised all around the world for its conservation initiatives, but there is not much actually focused on the marine sector. So we planned into this to give the ocean a bit more of a voice locally. So outside of this, we're also trying to do campaigning and just information bringing to the public on things like we've got a huge upcoming potential oil industry. There's the phosphate, offshore phosphate mining, salmon farming, overfishing, all these things that promise a lot to the country. They really promise a lot of money and jobs, but nobody really talks about the negatives. So we've got to be the bad guys here to bring this up. It's all information the public needs, and so we've taken on a lot of information campaigns at the moment just to try and get the Namibian public more up to date on what is actually going on, what the real threats are to the ocean, and all these big promises aren't always what they're promising to be. So I'm going to bring up Damien in a sec. Damien, I'm just going to chat a little bit about. Damien's going to tell us about. Well, he can tell you all about it.
Thanks, Nadia. And hi, everyone. My name's Damien. You haven't introduced me.
No, this is Damien. Damien joined our team in April. You might have seen him on some of the rescue videos. He hasn't qualified to his own end video yet, so you don't hear that much of him. But you've seen him around, and if you are locally, you will see all the. You would have seen if you live anywhere here, you would have seen Damien at one of our public talks, at the school meetings and things like that. It's very, it's making a big name for himself locally and just in conservation education.
Yeah, thanks, Nadia. I just came in to say a little bit about the effects of oil on wildlife conference that we've just been attending together, Nadia and I. Just came back on Friday. So this was possible for us to do because we finally got the funding, enough funding to be able to do this. And we've recognized the importance of all of this because many of you maybe already heard that there's a big oil and gas exploration happening in Namibia, and we have increased ship traffic. And also we have huge breeding colonies of important seabird species, which are very much at risk of being impacted by oil. So we went to the conference. It was the 15th Effects of Oil on Wildlife conference. This time it was hosted in Cape Town by Thankop, which is the South African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds. And yeah, with 3 themes that we looked at or that were dealt with at the conference. That was the MV Treasure Spill in the year 2000, which is to this day the largest animal rescue operation that ever happened, because about 20,000 oil penguins were saved and washed and released back into the wild, at least most of them. Yeah, so that was the first theme. Then we also had, in general, the conservation of this African penguin, because like Nadia said, they're critically endangered and they might be completely extinct by the year 2035 if nothing happens. And then the last thing was about international collaboration, which is especially in the field of oil wildlife response super important. And that's also a reason why we went to the conference, for networking, to know the important stakeholders when an oil spill occurs in Namibia, where we are on the ground people and we would have to step in. And we would have to step in to save these oil birds. Yeah,
the big takeaway for me in this conference was that Namibia is by no means in any way prepared for an oil fallout situation, but should it happen, there is a lot of help globally. There's some amazing organizations out there that are willing to respond to very remote places, teams ready to go, equipment ready to go. We will get ourselves in place as much as we can, but we will not be alone in this, which is really great.
Yeah, that's all from my side.
Yeah.
Yes.
New in the team. Can you? I always think from an outside perspective, like what do people feel like? Can you put your head back into like catching your first seal? I mean, the first ones you got was one of the big ones. We're running on the outside across the gap of water. Like what went through your heart, your head? Like, how are we doing here?
I was actually very excited. I was super nervous because I've seen seals before. I was a tour guide in Walvis Bay before, in the bay at least, so I would see them every day. But obviously, I hadn't caught one before, so I was super nervous. I think my heart was pounding, and obviously, doing it for the first time, you don't exactly know what to do and how to react, and you don't know how the seals will react. You know, you're running into a group of seals, and you don't know, are they going to attack you, or all kinds of things go through your mind. But as we did rescue the first seal, I was very happy, and I was so excited for, I guess, all the following seals that I would have to rescue that I could help in the situation.
Yeah. Remember, I shake your hand.
Yeah.
Still, like that feeling never goes away. Like, sometimes when you get, especially like some bigger seals in close quarter situations, when there's a lot of big ones running around, you still have that like complete shakes afterwards. It's a massive adrenaline rush. It is a bit like a drug later on, and big reason why we keep coming back to do what we do. All right, thanks, Damon. Yeah, so I'm going to actually call up Jason quickly. So Jason is our sort of behind the scenes wizard. Jason is all the posting you see online, all the talking, and what most people don't know is that Jason's actually a really solid seal rescuer too. He's been with us on multiple trips up to Skeleton Coast. Well, he's been with us at Skeleton Coast. He goes to the Cape Coast slot. He's normally doing the filming, but it's sometimes almost a little bit frustrating for me because he's like, Jason, where's your camera? It's like, nope, he's running out with 2 nets in his hand, ready to go, very committed. Like he's the guy who's going to charge into the water, and Jason's got this deep baritone voice. But when you hear him on the beach, when you see the seal, he screams like a child, not in fear, but to call out. Like, so no, it's always a lot of fun having Jason on the beach. So we just want to get a little bit of like insight from Jason.
Yeah. So hello everyone. I'm Jason, the social media manager. So yeah. I just want to thank everyone for showing up. I see a lot of people joining, and of course, welcome all the new followers, subscribers to OCN. Welcome to the OCN family. And yeah, I just want to really mention like the numbers or how we've managed to reach such a huge audience, and we thank all of you guys for supporting us, of course. So we have like about 2.1 million on YouTube, about 270,000 on Facebook, 90,000 on Instagram, and then of course 1.8 million as well on TikTok. So very, very huge audience, and it's very good for us to have such a huge audience to be able to get our message out there to you guys and just spread the message of plastic pollution awareness and create action amongst all of you guys. So I just want to really thank you guys for that. So yeah, when it comes to content wise, of course, I'm sure you guys have a lot of suggestions on what we can post, what we should post. So yeah, I just want to give you guys an opportunity later on to just like put your thoughts in the comment section on what you think we can have as content. Of course, team content is going to come up very much. And I just want to put it out there that, yeah, when it comes to team content, we don't really push for team content. Of course, I try my best to have behind the scene content, right, as much as possible, because I've done that and you guys really, really love those. So I'm going to do more of those, but then not really going deep into like team routine and stuff. So that's out of the picture. But of course, other stuff you guys want to see, maybe different angles, different editing, whatever, just put it in the comment section and we'll see what we can implement. Of course, depending on how well we think it can. But yeah, I think that's all from me.
Cool, thanks, Jay.
Okay.
Yeah, so look, and just a quick disclaimer, we will definitely not get to all the questions today. But you're always welcome to send whatever you haven't found, send us an email, drop us a message on the inbox, a comment on future videos. We will try and get back to all your answers. The response we've seen so far has been great. There's a lot of you on here, and we really appreciate that. And if we feel that this is more necessary, we can do these live streams more. Also, I see there's a couple of these super chat donations coming in, guys. Thanks so much. This is really, really, really cool. We love to see this. As you see, we're not out running big fundraisers and asking for donations all the time, but we are still a donation-driven organization, and it is contributions like these that enable us to keep doing what we're doing. So thank you. I'm going to bring up Ari just quickly, just to get a little insight into our education programs and what we are doing on the other side, the non-SEAL side of the organization. Ari?
Hi everyone, I'm Ari, and I'm the Education Officer and the Senior Scientist at OCN Conservation Namibia. And I have been overseeing the education program on ocean literacy. And it has been quite an experience seeing how, the young kids from different schools are quite interested in learning about the ocean. Over the year, or over the months of this year, I've been visiting several schools, and together with my colleague Damien and of course our media guy Jason, and we managed to actually educate. I would probably say over 1,000 kids, because we have been meeting quite a lot of kids, both locally from our coastal town, Walvis Bay, and we have been also getting a lot of kids from other northern parts of the country. And these kids, they come with a lot of, they are quite keen to learn about the ocean, quite keen to know about everything to do about the ocean. And it has been quite an experience working with these kids, and I really enjoyed it a lot. And sometimes it becomes hectic. Sometimes that becomes hectic, working with a large group of kids, but being a team, and we actually managed to actually just be able to work with such large groups. And on top of that, working with kids, teaching them about ocean literacy, we also do a lot of presentations with the university students and the community, and we engage on several key topics that need our attention, or key topics that we actually try to address Ocean Conservation Namibia, key topics that we try to make people aware of, because one of our main objectives is to raise awareness about certain topics that most people within our communities actually do not really have a good understanding of. And one major one is the salmon farming in Namibia, in Ludred specifically. They have introduced a salmon farming project, actually 2 salmon farming projects, and with our rich marine ecosystem and with the concerns and issues that comes with salmon farming, these are some of the issues that we actually try to address as a conservation organization. So teaching people, making them aware of some of these projects and some of the consequences of coming with this project is quite important, and just to make them understand about all these things. And speaking of also having engaging with students, we also do not just engage students locally, we also get some students from the States, United States, and these are students that come, and different students actually that come to our organizations, and we teach them about ocean conservation, we teach them about everything that actually tries to, or every issue that actually, affects our very important marine ecosystem. So overall, I'm quite happy with the progress and what we are doing. It has been a challenge coming up with specific ideas on how to put out our whole ocean literacy program out there, but at this point, we really came to a point where I can say we really made progress, and also having someone to assist on the side, because sometimes it becomes very much overwhelming. It's quite important to me, and we are really making progress with, and we are actually also working together with other organizations, such as the Namibia Nature Foundation, which actually at the moment also now came up with an ocean literacy toolkit, which is Namibian based, and it's quite important to us, and something that we are also making use of as a backup to what we already have created. And overall, I could say we are making progress in terms of ocean literacy. And if there's any question,
yeah, I'm going to get to some questions here, Ari. Thank you. So it's like the education part is such an integral thing for us. We have a very big population, and so many people are dependent on a healthy ocean, but there's a very little connect between often these kids and the ocean. So we're trying to bridge that gap, making the ocean more accessible and just teaching them about it. Thanks, Aaron. Cool. Guys, I'm going to start hopping onto some questions. We have started with a few questions from earlier, so I'm just going to start diving right into those. Who designs the field catcher nets? Who makes them? There's been a lot of questions about our nets. Our nets are made specifically for us in Seattle. They are amazing design made by Lady Catherine. People who are working in this sort of line, doing work when you feel the nets might work for you, you can send us the mail and we can put you in touch. The issue is the nets are not just, they're not, if you've seen a seal before on your beach and you just want to go and help him, do not go and get a net and just try and help the seal. Sometimes what we make it look a little bit easier than it actually can be. It's a dangerous situation, not encouraging anybody to just jump in there and try and rescue seals on their own, please. We consulted vets on some of the trickier ones on how to manage their wounds. So we get a lot of questions about wound cleaning, disinfectants, anesthesia as well. Yes, we have actually consulted a lot of vets on this. One of our board members is a wildlife vet specializing in seals. And we've come to the decision that the best course of action for us is actually to let them go and let the salt water do its thing. Salt water is extremely antiseptic, antibacterial. It heals wounds amazingly. We do not want to bring in antibiotics into a population of wild animals. We do not want to have to anesthetize them, and basically, and also in doing that, take ourselves out of the equation. When we're rescuing sometimes now 30 or 40 seals in a day, one process like this, it can take up to an hour, and this is just going to basically, we've got such a short window of time to do these rescues, it'll take us out of the equation. So to effectively do the job as best we can, we rely on the salt water. We've never seen an animal dead after we've released it. It's not to say it's not happening, but I do believe that the healing rate is extremely high on the seals that we are releasing. So we keep doing that. How many seals have you saved in the last year? Well, now that you ask, 1,000. That is the big thing why we're doing this live today. It actually worked out very well that we just hit 1,000 the other day. So looking at our board there, We are on officially 4,037 pre-2025 plus 1,000, so over 5,000 rescues now in total, and that's actually just since 2020. That's not counting the ones we did before that where we weren't really keeping tabs. I'd say probably another 500 or 600 on that. But to answer the question, 1,000 seals this year. Do you think that anywhere there are seal populations, rescuers like you are probably actually needed? Yes, we are seeing this situation more and more. People are sending us photos from other places in the world. We are actually in contact with quite a few other organizations and rescuers from other parts of the world. We have had some people now coming to us from as far as Alaska to do training with our equipment and our nets. We've developed some specialized techniques and skills, which we're happy to teach other organizations doing this similar work. We would love to do some exotic field trips to catch seals in other places, but most of these would actually be in the time when we are busiest here with our own rescues. So for that reason, we would rather bring people here, get them to develop some skills, and then take that home to practice in their own home populations. And somebody asked, when you've done beach cleanups, often wish you'd let us know so we can do similar activities in solidarity. Could you give us an advanced warning? Yes, this is an amazing idea. We do beach cleanups quite often. Often we're not even publishing them on social media anymore. But I think it's a really cool idea to just create like a community-driven thing. I mean, not just a local, but an international community-driven thing. We will definitely be better at it for sure. Be better with it for sure. Do you worry about sharks when you're kayaking? Just figured that lots of sharks are attracted by seals. No, actually not. The sharks are not really a thing yet. You'd think with all the seals and watching all the videos of great whites catching seals, you'd think there'd be a lot of sharks here because there's surely enough food for them here. But no, sharks are not a thing. Seals live pretty cushy lives here. We've had a lot of criticism in the past, people shouting at us for releasing seals back into the water that might be bleeding a bit, saying, oh, the shark's going to eat them immediately. No, this is not a threat. We also do not have orcas predating on seals here. So if that was the case, then we would be doing our operation differently. So no, we're not too worried about that. How's the penguin? Oh, sorry. Has the animal population changed? Any animals leave or move in, and numbers going up or down? From what we can gather and from statistics we've been receiving from the official counts, the population has been pretty stable for the last 3 or 4 years at least, at around 1.6 million seals. The population at the same time is quite dynamic. Sometimes we'll get to an area where there were no seals, and the next time we get there 2 months later, there's a group of 10,000 seals. So one of the last time we went to the Skeleton Coast, there were less than half the seals that we would normally encounter up there. So there's a lot of movement within the population. Also, depending on fish availability and everything, a lot of movement on and offshore as well. So no, the groups are not a constant set number at all. Even at Pelican Point, I would say from in the year, it can vary from as low as 30,000 to probably well over 100,000 during breeding time. Have you rescued many whales? So the whale thing's become quite a topic for us this year. Our team did some training with the IWC, the International Whale Commission, on disentangling whales. We have been involved in a few whale disentangling program or call-outs over the last years. We have a lot of abandoned fishing gear, and not fishing, oyster farming gear. So a lot of ropes and things floating out in the bay. And there's been a few incidents of whales being entangled that we've gone to help on. And we've just basically got some more specialized training in that. We've also recently acquired our own boat. We've been involved in a few stranded whales as well, but these are normally very tough to deal with because they are not that. Most whales, when they're on the beach already, especially large whales, are already in a very compromised state. They are emaciated, they're thin, they could be sick. It's very hard to tell what's wrong with them, but very likely they are not going to make it. And the success rate on refloating those guys is usually very, very low. So we've only had 1 or 2 successes with that. We did have, earlier in the year, we had a group of 2 or 3 bottlenose dolphins as well, which we were lucky enough to get back into deep water. See, it's been long. So there's also another question that's been on sort of everyone's mind at the moment. Do seals get rabies? I heard you had an outbreak. Outbreak is such a drastic word. Outbreak sounds like a apocalyptic event. We've had 1 positive case in Namibia. So yes, seals do get rabies. Fortunately, it has become a thing in South Africa. There are a lot more cases. We have seen a fair amount of very suspicious rabid behavior in seals on the beaches, but our testing facility, our testing protocols are not that well in place here. We are not going to go out and kill a live seal, even if it's showing rabid behavior. People are going to, and then the seals move back into the water. In South Africa, they've got a lot more formalized approach to this. The seals immediately get euthanized and tested. We do not have any of this in place. So I do believe it is a thing here. We are extra cautious. Our whole team has been vaccinated. We've encouraged everyone working with seals, whether in tourism industry, fishing, whatever, to get vaccinated as well, just to reduce the risk. But yes, suddenly rabies is just a whole new thing for us to deal with. What happens to the things you get from the seals? We have a mountain of entanglements, bags and bags full of entanglements. In our workshop, in our garage, we have had some cool projects, smaller projects with we've had somebody turning into fashion. We've done some school, some installation, some art installations with school kids, and we've just shipped off a whole bunch of net. If you might have seen that video a while ago, we had a seal with a huge bundle of about 20 kilograms of bright green net. This has been sent to Braithnet in Germany. They're a company specialized in turning a non-profit, turning used fishing gear, ghost fishing gear into jewelry. So this is quite cool. They've also taken a lot of the recreational lines. The team of theirs came to visit us earlier this year, and we'll be happy to share some products that we're making in the next short while. Actually, they are in production with that at the moment. Is there a way to watch a documentary? I still haven't been able to find it anyway. Yes, we are. Well, the short answer right now is no. We are in a little bit limbo. Remember, the documentary is not actually ours as such. It is it features us, but it was made by an organization called Plastic Oceans. They are still trying to get this onto a network. It's still doing some film festival tours. And there's actually a lot of talk about remaking it into a 4-part series instead. It seems that people are struggling to sit down and watch an entire full-length documentary. We have a lot of people wanting to watch this. We'd love to do it ourselves and share it with everybody. But as soon as we have some more news on cutting the line, we will definitely let you guys know. Okay, have you noticed any changes in the seal's behavior? Example, learn to stay away from the debris and used to humans. Unfortunately not. They, well, not in learning to stay away from the debris. They are still, as numbers indicate, they are not realizing the risk of playing with plastic or things that shouldn't be in the ocean. Seals inherently are very playful animals. They spend a lot of time just playing with each other and playing with things they find in the water. And this is just in their nature, and they have not associated that with with pain. I mean, we've had certain seals in the docks that Tony has caught 4, 5, 6 times, the same seals with the exact same type of entanglement around them. So no, they're not exactly learning that. And no, they don't really seem to get used to humans either, which is a good thing. There are some places that there are some industries that deal with seals. There are a few that habituate themselves, but generally the seals stay pretty well. Even the ones that do see us 3 or 4 times a week will still come running every time they see us. Do you have a scar on your arm from that bite a few years ago? I just have a little bit of a scar. You can see the seal is diving around the scar. That was my worst bite probably a couple of years ago. We've been getting a lot better about getting bitten lately, I must say. Everyone has had a few decent bites. Damien doesn't have his tattoo yet. No, Hayden still. You guys, according to Tony, are not as committed yet, so not putting themselves into enough danger yet. But no, the bites are still there. Yes, the team are there. The team are around. If you guys have any specific questions for them, then we will see if we will see. They are not. You see, when you're running with a GoPro, the camera's not looking at you. They're actually very shy and introvert guys, and they're not always that happy to be faced directly with a camera in a one-on-one situation. So for that reason, I'm doing the talking, but we can try and coax them into an answer.
Can you answer the one on the drive?
Sorry, start.
When you drive in, it looks quite scary. Have you ever hit any seals or been close to?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, when you drive in, it looks quite scary. Have you ever hit any seals or been close? Yes, we do. No, not yes, we've hit them. Yes, it does. We do get very close to them. It's the drive-ins are action-packed, but we do take a lot of care. Remember when we're driving in, we've got at least 3 or 4 guys on a much higher level than the driver, and shouting to the driver and giving directions all the time. It would absolutely shatter us, and we'd go home immediately if we actually had to hit a seal. Sometimes they'll do a little turn in and then get closer to the car, but no, we've never actually hit a seal during the drive-in, luckily. The drive-ins are some of the more action-packed entries we do, but we do try and keep it safe for ourselves and the seals, even though it might not always look that way.
Sorry?
How often do you see recaps from badly injured flippers, as in do you have a good chance of survival? The badly injured flippers, we've seen some of the recaptures, especially those ones that are cut around the back. I'd say the chance of survival are very good, unless the limb is completely gone or there's severe damage to the actual bone and the bone is physically broken. I want to say they will make it. We spend so much time on the beach and we're not seeing dead animals after we've released them. So I do believe we've got a really high success rate on these releases. Even the bad ones, some of them we've really thought like, well, there's no chance of this guy to make it. We'll see them a couple of months later and looking like nothing's ever happened to them, except they've got a cool scar to show their friends. Is there any way you can hold the fishermen responsible for those killers, the gill nets? So the gill nets, yeah, they're a very sore point for us. You'll see most of our gill net rescues, especially the fine monofilament line gill nets, are really severe. They're horrible stuff. And what's worse is that they're not legal yet. It's a completely illegal fishery. So whoever's doing that is not just breaking dumping laws, but also breaking the fishing laws. So if there was a way to hold them, if there was a way to catch them in the act or trace some of these lines back to the fishermen, yes, there would definitely be massive repercussions from them, not necessarily from the animal welfare side, but from the fishing side for sure. And this just brings us back to the whole, there needs to be such stronger regulations in place. There are a few small things that can be done on a global scale, like marking nets to ships. I mean, you bring in color bands and things on nets to give them identification to ships, or putting the vessel's names on the straps could make a potentially huge difference. But this would need the entire industry, either locally or internationally, to come together on this, and it's unfortunately not that simple. Are you ready for the November marathons, New York? Yes, I am. I'm leaving for New York next Friday with Katja. We're running the New York Marathon on the 2nd of November. I'll be running for the New York Marine Rescue Center, amazing organization out there doing a lot of work with harbor seals, great seals, and turtles, especially coming to this time of year now. Thermal shock is a huge thing for turtles, getting washed up in the area. They bring them in, rehabilitate them, and release them once the water warms up again, or take them out to the warmer Gulf Stream again. So really excited, and I hope you're going to get the chance to spend some time in their facility too. What part of your story do you wish more people asked about, but they never do? Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, like Katja says, definitely the plastic side of things. People always want to hear about the rescues and are lost in the rescues and the personal things. What do we do? What do we eat for breakfast? How do we train? How do we keep ourselves busy? But the much bigger issue at play is the plastics, the issue at hand. Wanting to know what can we do to make the situation better. So yeah, if people want to know more about my story, it is, I wish people would want to know more about the bigger issues at hand, which are plastic and unregulated overfishing, leading to dumping of fishing waste, if I have to get specific. So the nets are, how long are the nets and how long do they last? How many do you go through? The nets are about 2.8 meters long. They're 90 inches in diameter or circumference, and they last pretty long, because most of our rescues are on sandy beaches. They're also extremely expensive, so we make them last. We patch them a lot, we replace the zips quite often, and only once they've really been worked through and not sustainable anymore, then we replace them. So I would say that normally an average net lasts us about 2 seasons, considering the amount of rescues we're doing. I'd say that's pretty good. Because we are also working in rocky areas, sometimes on the harbour and the pier side, and that does raise them and tear them up a little bit. But we try and we wash them, we keep them maintained, and try and last them as long as we can. Done that one. Singing. Yeah. Are they still planning to build that factory to slaughter huge numbers of seals? It has been very quiet. We drive past every time we go to Cape Cross. There was a lot of fanfare about it in the beginning, and I'm hoping it's one of those situations where they are announcing it and then looking for investors. The government's been quiet, the harvesters have been quiet, the factory developers have been quiet. So we just, if you go back on now, if you're not sure what we're talking about, there was a big announcement a while ago building a huge seal processing facility, wanting to process 200,000 seals a year. Obviously, this is horrible, horrible news. But as I said, we haven't heard too much more about it lately. Okay, what is your relationship with the Namibian government? Are they supportive? It is. The government allows us to do what we are doing, which is all we really need at the end of the day. We are happy to just be allowed to do the work we're doing. They do not support us financially in any way. We're also not expecting this of them. There are a lot of other more pressing issues that they would need the finances for. We are still living in an impoverished African country, and for them to send guys out on a non-threatening species we're not looking for that. Not opposed to our work, luckily. Sometimes there are a lot of bureaucratic hurdles to cross, especially when trying to get into some of the remote areas we like to get into, or working certain times of the year. But for the most, it all works pretty well. Put on here. Yeah. How did you start years ago? Did you start on your own or with support from the beginning? The whole process sort of started. I was doing kayaking tours in the area, and I would see entangled seals, start jumping out of the kayak, catching them, and we realized we were saving these animals' lives. It became a bit of an obsession and sort of developed further and further. At one stage in 2019, Tony came to visit Namibia. We met here. We went out for seals, and he really enjoyed it. He realized the importance of the work. Tony came back in 2020 for a little holiday to catch seals again, and he got stuck here during lockdown for basically the last 6 years. You could almost say. Between Tony and Katja and myself, we sort of realized this is we sort of started without even knowing it, the foundations for OCN. Katja is a brilliant strategist, insightful, I want to say. So she helped us formulate how can we use the rescues we're doing, the message, how can we turn this message into a message of awareness, and I guess this is how it all came together. Can we volunteer? At the moment, no, we are not really taking any volunteers. Our team is pretty full. We're a very streamlined rescue team at the moment. We fill up one car completely. We try and get out there as often as we can. And it is, as you see in our videos, what we're doing is quite hands-on. We don't want to. I know it sounds terrible, but it takes months to train somebody up properly to do this kind of work. So people want to come in and help with seal rescues, but if they're not going to be a full-time member of the team, it's not really worth our time to sit and train somebody up, basically take ourselves out of action, train somebody up who's just going to leave again afterwards. We use volunteers for beach cleanups and things like that, other initiatives. If it comes to a point where we have an oil spill and we need to wash 1,000 birds, we will use volunteers for things like that. But for the actual seal rescues, no, right now we're not recruiting any volunteers. Have you guys all thought about organizing a trip for tourists to come and watch rescues and help with the beach cleanup for help with fundraising? So again, it's a question we get asked a lot, and no, we're not really in this. We're not doing this as a tourism product. We're not doing this to sell an experience to anybody. If anything, it's just going to be distracting for us while we're out there trying to get our job done. And we don't want to then suddenly have hundreds of people wanting to come out and watch what we're doing. And I might have mentioned this a few times now. It's all about us getting in there and getting as much work done as we can in a short space of time. And we're just not looking for any distractions out there. Are you famous in Namibia? Namibia, yeah. And you get recognized by tourists and locals. I guess our name is getting out there locally. I think our viewer base is still a lot more international, but it doesn't hurt. The more we get more and more Namibians calling us out, and when they're seeing seals, they're seeing birds, anything, which is really handy for us to be able to have people that are aware of what we're doing. And a lot of people just need to know that somebody actually cares out there, somebody is willing to do something, and hopefully motivate them to do their own same thing. Do you do this full time? Or is it totally volunteer activity? And do you have other jobs? If so, what else do you do for a living? No. And say our whole rescue team is actually doing this on a full-time basis. Part of our, I want to say, the cost of our operational costs or salaries. Again, we want to have a team that is fully committed to what we're doing. We not like a fireman alarm. Okay, who's available now to go out? We want to all be available all the time for this kind of work, and not actually have just be not have distractions in that sense. We were all fully committed, and everybody has their families, kids. We've got commitments, so it's a priority that everybody can actually be supported to do this without having to worry about how they're going to make ends meet at the end of the month. How many days a month are you out rescuing on the beaches? Generally, we're out at least 3 times a week, just to Pelican Point. Tony and Hayward do their dock patrols in the evenings, 3 or 4 times a week as well. We try and get up to to Cape Cross, a huge colony, at least every 2 weeks in the time of the year we're allowed to, and we try and get up into the schedule. We try and do our bigger expeditions between Cape Cross and Sandwich Harbour, south of Walvis Bay, at least 3 or 4 times a year. Will you make new Christmas videos with the newborns this year? I think so. I personally love hanging out with little newborns. It's a really cool experience to be out there, and I think it's a nice new life, new year start of all. If there's unless there's any massive opposition to it, I'm happy to just run 20 minutes or half an hour long video of seal pups, just brand new seal pups doing their thing. It's the cutest thing ever. Do you still receive? Do you receive all the money from your YouTube fundraiser, or do they take a cut? No. It says we do actually receive all the money from our YouTube fundraiser, which is really cool because we're non-profit, right? Yes. They did not take their cut, which is really cool. So yes, we do appreciate the YouTube fundraisers. What is OCI? I'm going to actually bring. So, yeah, OCI is Ocean Conservation International. It is basically our partner, our 501c. So we've got a 501c3 in the States as a partner organization. It is all part of OCN in the greater picture. People always ask, it's just 2 different organizations when people make donations. But yes, it makes being in Africa, receiving donations from foreign countries, things get a little bit complicated. So for us, it was just much easier to streamline things by setting up a 501c3 in the States, which also means that anyone donating in the States can use this for in tax. So corporate donations and things are very much encouraged. But yes, OCI is, if you hear that it's not some scam organization, it's all within us. I see our live stream is actually in a timeout any second. Thank you very, very much for sticking this out. I see there's been a great turnout, and we are really, really grateful. Again, I'm sure we did not get to everyone's questions. I'm glad we got a chance to introduce Ari and Damien and you guys a bit more. And should you have any questions that you feel were not responded to, send us a mail or send us direct messages on the platforms, and we will get to that. And sorry, Jason too. Before I forget, if Jason was not here, none of this would happen today. This is all his idea, by the way, too. So again, thank you so much to everybody for dialing in, and we will let you know if we do this again. Thank you.